Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This lady here has been my monarch from the first day of my life, and I feel astonishingly honoured to have been asked to be part of the Queen's Green Canopy in East Sussex. I arrived in Eastbourne 8 years ago, knowing nothing of the town, choosing a house that was a mobility scooters range of Waitrose, a quiet retirement. In prospect, it hasn't worked out. I'm busier now than I ever have been, but I love it. This is a wonderful town, and the Eastbourne Society is an extraordinary institution, and we share, I think, a real determination to play our individual parts in making this town even better and more beautiful than it is. And goodness, it's got some potential. Such, great bones, maybe looking a bit tired in places, but the town and its surroundings are just so special. And as I say, I am to be honoured to have been asked to see if we can make a bit of difference in the year of the Queen's Jubilee. That is a really special thing for me. The Queen's Green Canopy is a project which represents the Queen's wish as to how we should leave a legacy of her Jubilee. It's her choice. It's been organised by the Palace. If you look at the Queen's Green Canopy website, you will see a lot of information there. It's open to everybody to participate in their own way. It doesn't have to be organised. What I'm doing is just part of it. It's an expression of everyone's individual memories of and respect of the Queen. It obviously is centred on nature, on planting trees, planting shrubs, getting nature back into this country. But it is very much too focused on people, that people should be out in nature, that people should be enjoying and appreciating nature. And the Queen has, as many of you will know, a long association with Eastbourne. She came here as a child. She would holiday at Compton Place House, and she wrote happy letters from there. So the memory of a Queen going to church here is one that she treasures too. And her father, when we bought the Downs in 1929, he was the one who came and gave us a memorial of that event. So the Queen and Eastbourne and the Downs are closely linked. The Downs were, when we bought them, sheepwalk. Apart from a few bits and pieces of wood, it was all open territory. Then in the early 50s, myxomatosis came, and we lost control of the vegetation on the steep slopes where we couldn't mow, and it went to scrub and then ashwood. But the ash that came in must have come from a very restricted range of trees. It turns out that they were all susceptible to ash dieback, which is why we have this extraordinary death rate that we have on the escarpment at the moment. And it's a quick disease, as you can see, and a universal one, and it makes the trees brittle, and they're crashing to the ground at the moment. And if we leave things as they are, we will get eventually 150 hectares of sycamore forest, which is a bit boring and is not really taking advantage of the opportunity that we have as a result of the dieback. And I, therefore, as part of the celebration of the Queen's Jubilee, have set out to see if we can leave a lasting legacy for wildlife and for us in making that escarpment a place that is absolutely humming with as many different varieties of wildlife as we can get there, and is a really beautiful place to visit and to be. And that's not impossible. That's entirely within the range of possibility. It requires planting a lot of different things, and it requires looking after them. It requires forming a relationship between us and the escarpment, which we look at all the time, but it's quite a formidable thing to climb. It's 500 feet straight up. This can be a bit off-putting at times. So we want to make it something that is accessible and easy to get up. And as you do that, it's full of incident, full of story, full of wildlife, something that's a real pleasure to be out and among. The route we're planning stretches from Buttsbrough to the sea. Coming down the escarpment this side of Willingdon Golf Club, rising up to Black Robin Farm, and then down again. It's about 7 kilometres in all. And all the way along that, we are plotting what we can plant and where. And as part of this, we want everybody who wants to be able to claim a space on the escarpment. And that's one of the great things you can do with a good mapping system, is you can absolutely assign a space to a person. So everybody alive in Eastbourne in this year will be able to claim a free space on the escarpment. They will be able to name it after themselves. They will be able to upload a photograph and tell us what that photograph is. And they will be able to share with us their memories of the Queen. Now, I suspect there are many people here who know the Queen better than I do. I've met her in passing a couple of times, but she is an extraordinary presence. She just impresses so much and so immediately in such a little encounter. Her focus always seems to be on you. And to do that, and she must have met 1 million people in her life, to do that so consistently is quite extraordinary. And the stories people tell of the times where they've had an opportunity to meet her are ones that I hope we will share, that I hope we as a town will find a way of remembering not only ourselves and the town as we are now, but our memories of the Queen, and to make of this Jubilee year a lasting memory, not only on the escarpment, in what we plant and what we do there, but in the memories we record of ourselves and our Queen. Something which is becoming remarkably rare. It is, historians used to have documents to work with. What are historians going to have now? There's not going to be much left of emails. You go and the email account's turned off and it's gone. There's no records, no letters left in anyone's basement, nothing to record what we were and what we've done. And this, to me, is an opportunity to do something about that, to say, here we were in this year, and this is who we were, and this is our memories of our Queen. That's a picture of the escarpment as it is above Priory Heights. And you can see in the foreground the remnant of the Earl of Willingdon's shooting estate. That's why it looks so healthy. He planted a lot of different kinds of trees there. It's a really healthy, varied forest. It's full of wild garlic and bluebells and absolutely buzzing with wildlife. Beyond it, you can see the haze of the dying ash, which has nothing much below it but bramble. And that is the opportunity that I would like us all to take advantage of. There's a whole range of things we might seek to do. But I don't want this to be my idea. I want it to be yours. I want it to be your thoughts as to what you would like to be there, your vision of how this part of the town should be, that we should put into effect. I'm far too recent an arrival in Eastbourne to be the one who should decide what happens here. I want to know what you want. I want your help in achieving it. I want this to be a project of the people of Eastbourne, because that way it will have real roots and real resonance and will be something that we will come to use and enjoy. And what's important with forestry, that we will support it, that we will be out there with our secateurs, cutting the brambles, making sure the trees flourish, letting them get away well, so that what we produce is a success. And the nice thing about a forestry project like this, or one of the many nice things, is that we can do exactly as much or as little as we wish. The council wants us to do this. They are unanimous in their approval of this as a project. We will have their support. Whatever we decide to do in terms of putting our effort in, getting the trees, raising the money to look after them, that much we can do. This is a project which can be as big or as small as we all decide that it should be. And it therefore is a project that will happen. We will do something. We will do enough to make this a decent memorial for the Queen. If we raise a lot of money, then we will be able to make it something really special. And I'm looking this evening for people who want to be part of saying what we should be doing, who want to be part of helping us understand how to do this well, who want to play a role in steering, taking us out to contacts, setting us up ready for fundraising. I'm not looking for money today. That will come. But what I need now is to reach out into the town and say, I need your help. That, as I say, is the route of the proposed route. And this is a look down what we might do, what the potential is. At the northern end, by Buttsbrough, you've got a really steep slope above Willingdon Golf Course. And there's not much you can do there. But on the other hand, we can do something for the wildlife. The ground up there is pretty scrubby now. It's knee-high brambles. It needs cutting back. It needs looking after. It ought to be full of grass and flowers. The scrub edges ought to be things that have a lot more variety than they do at the moment. So there's a potential there, but it's windy, probably not much we can do. Then we come down to the bit above Hill Road. There's a lovely potential open space up there. I hope we will get Cavendish School to look after it. It'll need a lot of work over the years. It's a mess of fallen down trees and tree stumps at the moment. But it's a beautiful view from up there. It really promises to be a wonderful place for children. And then you sweep round over Priory Heights and the field with the horses in it. And just about there is a rare thing on the escarpment, which is a deep, quiet valley with a good depth of soil in it. And in there, we can grow really nice trees. We can grow nuts, we can grow apples, we can grow a whole variety of fruit and make it a place that people come to, not just to be in a wood, but because they're hoping to get some food from it, have some real interaction with it. It will also, I hope, be enjoyed by the squirrels. At the edge there, and in various other places round the escarpment, you've got the escarpment butting up against people's houses. And there's a potential to bring in, I think, some beauty, to make it an edge that people really enjoy having at the back of their garden, rather than the broken down old sycamore, which is what they've got at the moment. And then we carry on down the escarpment, and here you've got a big space which you can plant up. The children of Eastbourne have started a project to plant tree seeds, and we may be working with Treeborn, and I think we will be getting something like 16,000 trees this next year, 30,000 the year after. We can use that to vastly enrich places like this so that they become really varied, interesting forests full of wildlife, rather than, let's say, just a regress of sycamore. And we can produce, where you have that track running through the forest, a whole section of different environments. So I don't know how many of you have walked through an aspen wood when the wind is blowing and listened to the leaves rustle, or walked under a beech wood in autumn and that extraordinary gold carpet. I think we can really produce some worthwhile environments there. The blue areas are places where we might have the free spaces. They're essentially open. They're places with good views. They're places you could go and have a picnic. They're places you can enjoy, but where we don't have to do too much work. The other colours, the reds and the yellows, are places where we would aim to plant trees. This here is an open space which is directly above Pashley Infant School, and Pashley and Motcombe and Ocklinge and the special school there all want to be involved in looking after that. They want that to be a space where children can enjoy. So round it, we want to plant a whole variety of trees so that they can really enjoy the wildlife up there, so that it becomes a place which is beautiful and full of things to do and full of things to look at. And eventually, if we choose the right species, one or two trees they can climb. The council, bless its heart, was sending people around in the middle of the pandemic cutting the swings out of the trees because they thought they were too dangerous. South Downs National Park is much more advanced in its thinking than that, and wants to find ways of allowing children out into the wood so that they can enjoy themselves. But that's we've got some work to do to help the council understand how that can be done. You've got a long stretch above Cherry Garden Road, which is old growth sycamore, where there's not much to be done. But it's actually a lovely piece of old wood, and we want to find ways of getting people out into there so that they can really enjoy it. And in doing in the few clearings that are there, doing interesting things to bring a bit of variety, bring a bit of low-level wildlife into it. And then we cross the A259. You've got a bit more sycamore there. And then you've got a long run above the Royal Golf Course, which is a bit of hillside you can see from most of Eastbourne. Because the golf course is there, there's no buildings in front of it, you can see that stretch of hillside. And there is somewhere where I would like to see us do something really beautiful, something where the beauty you would see from a distance. So a great swathe of cherry trees in springtime, lovely autumn winter colours, a mixture of greens in the summertime. And so we're using at the moment a landscape architect from the Eden project, and looking to produce a design for what's going to happen there. That will be something that is just really beautiful to be among. So that's the lower part of the golf course, and then the path comes up through a wooded area and up onto the top, and this is very much following the old route of the Jubilee Way, and this is swinging up onto the top, and you can see there's some of the upper Carlisle Road, that bit of meads below, and then running round there and down on towards the Beeds Junior School and there. And that, I don't know what's supposed to happen there. There's lots of opportunity, but what should be there? Is this a part of the escarpment that you visit, that you have a vision for, that you know what you would like it to look like? What could be done to make it somewhere that was a really beautiful and exciting and rewarding place to walk. And that's the sort of thing which I I really need some help with is finding out the plans to respond to the way you think that landscape might be. We've got a long walk there, we've got 7 kilometres of travel. What sort of facilities do we want for resting on the way? What do we want the benches to look like? Do we want places we can shelter on a rainy day and look at the view? What sort of things should be happening? I'm full of ideas, but it shouldn't be my ideas that come to fruition. It should be your ideas and your insights that we're working with. Who do you know who has the time, has the inclination, has the understanding to get involved in this, to help us put this project together, to help us do the fundraising, to help us make a success of it? I'm delighted to say I've got about 30 in the team so far, and some of you I see here. But we need 3 or 4 times that number. It's a big town. We need to stretch out. We really need to use the town, access the town's resources as much as we can. There must be other people out here like me who came here thinking that this was a place for a quiet life, but don't actually want that anymore. Want something they can do, want something they can get their teeth stuck into. Well, this is the time, because we haven't settled anything yet. All this is just ideas. And indeed, the opportunity to work at the ideas is quite a long one, because this is going to be a long project. This is going to take 10 years or so to get through to the end of planting. And there'll be plenty of opportunity to change things, to improve things, to bring in other people, to work in other people. There will be opportunities to do things that really work for specific groups of people. There's a small Japanese community here. We've managed to put up a grove of Japanese cherries in Hampton Park for them. There will be other communities for whom we can find a place, find somewhere on the escarpment that recognises the environment they would like to have around them. There's the whole top of the escarpment, which is a wonderful, as long as you're out of the wind, it's a wonderful place to be. But it's too much of it's bramble, too much of it is just not looked after. It ought to be alight with glowworms at night, but most of them have gone. There's so much that we can do over time to make that a really beautiful, interactive place for people, because we're making it a beautiful place for wildlife. And I'm hoping that what will come out of this evening is a collection of you. Get in touch with us through that email address, through the website, or through finding me personally. And we'll become part of the team that makes this happen. And as I say, not just following on, but absolutely hands on the tiller, saying what you would like to happen, using the rest of us to make that happen. I want this to be a collective response to the Jubilee, something we all have a part in, something we all feel belongs to us. And just because it started with me, well, that's not the way I want it to end. Thank you very much.